Now you write a sentence. It's best that the answer you get can be determined. The enemy is Robin. This girl will get the word to Robin in a minute. I hear that, Queen Timoti answered excitedly. It's a little interesting for me to see. Then she picked up the paper and started writing. After writing it, then happy giving to the girl assigned to transmit the message. Here, girl, after receiving the paper, sit in the chair next to the Kier engine, wearing headphones, tapping the buttons on the machine. Somewhere in the supermarket, Robin leisurely sipped lollipop. Just watched the blue-haired young man at work. A piece of paper from the machine. Same with Queen Timoti. He ran up to the blue-haired young man and said, I hold the paper that was sent to Robin. I'm still biting the candy in my hand. Mr. Robin, this is the news His Majesty Timmo wrote to you. Robin picked up the paper and read what was inside. Your face is a little helpless but full of love. Your Majesty, you are. A little later, Timothy. A piece of paper is passed back through the machine. The girl came back and answered. Timmo heard that. Hurry up and write to me. The girl held up the paper in front of her. There are 2 lines on it. One line is that you like white dancers. The other line is that you're addicted to people's bodies. Look at the paper that says this. It's a little bit shallow. Timmo, on the other hand, was delighted to confirm that it was him. His face was filled with doubt. What did you write? Queen Tim, it's naughty to hear you ask. Put the paper over your mouth. She blushes, teasing. Your Majesty is really curious. It's not impossible to tell me. It seems to predict your next sentence. He directly refused to leave. The Queen looked up when she heard that. Miss Lip, for an hour, no more teasing. Ellie turned to ask her now. This news actually comes from the SAO supermarket. I'm happy to confirm, of course. Queen of Timor hands the machine on the table. You can't stop complaining. The tiger is not your Majesty. The communication issue has been resolved. Listen to that and show more. But now the operation is quite complicated. It can't be learned at the same time. I'll arrange a team. Come to the house first. Then you can contact me at any time. I will also arrange the corresponding market for you. Timmo turned his head. Have fun laughing with the reply. Then I'll thank you in advance. He looked back at the whispering machine. I'm going to be back soon. Ellie sighed. She stared at the Queen as if in doubt. But in the end, she chooses not to speak. Above the airfield. Follow the Queen's entourage. Timothy, moving forward. When a guard sees you, report to your Majesty. The squad is assembled. You can start at any time. If you listen to that, I am very pleased to hear you say it. The Kier immediately made a move. Put your hands up and take orders. Queen Timoti steps up the bar of the spaceship. Before going inside completely, she came back and waved goodbye. Then I'm leaving. I am fortunate to have your Majesty take care of me these days, waiting for me to get my house back. We will invite everyone to the guest village. He looked at Theo in response to her. I will walk the way of peace. The spacecraft departs to the high. Stay with Ellie below. I still haven't taken my eyes off Theo. In the boat right now. Robin is teasing. I thought you had to do something. Just got on the plane. Queen Timmo settled down and said, I'm not the kind of woman. Before we break up, we can't do enough. Even though the days are long, I get back to the palace. That's when he came to my place. Until then, stitch it up. I can see your face is a little red. Subin's face was a little helpless. I can only advise you not to do too much. Influence diplomacy. Then the zombies turned around. Look at the machine. The blue-haired man is holding it in his hand. Without fail to admire. Let me tell you, this is amazing. I'm afraid we'll wait until we get back to exile. Your Majesty will make a big move soon. After the spacecraft disappeared from view. Just tell Ellie to go. We have to be busy too. Ellie is just starting to speak now. Say your thoughts. From seeing the capabilities of this machine. Young man, I have a thought. Related to the telegraph. I was a little surprised to hear that. In the library room, Ellie proposed to the young master. I propose to build a large-scale telegraph station. I heard that and asked. You've discovered the good part of this. Ellie quickly answered. Of course before. Many kings don't know what happened to the land. It's been a long time since the king knew. But now, the telegraph is completely different. Ellie raised her hand to continue the analysis. If we can set up a large-scale telegraph station, reset the relevant parts, we can get news from all places quickly, regardless of the manager, or intervention or control maneuvers. It's much more convenient for us to talk about. For us, it's the spirit. Listen to your analysis for a moment. The master quickly replied to her. I have this thought too, but before that, there's one more thing to do. Ellie wondered what to ask. The answer is very simple, but hit the issue straight. We don't have many literate people. After hearing this, Ellie opened her mouth. Remember that it also has a problem. This is really annoying. She sighed at the end of the yard. To see rock and only slowly. But the wind doesn't seem to think so. I suddenly stood up. Holding a piece of paper, she approached Ellie and said, Take this and get it published. Ellie raised her head and looked curiously at what this was. He looked Ellie straight in the eye and slowly explained It's simply a national exam. I want all the literate people in the country. Everything works for you. In a remote mountain and forest. At the foot of a small village. The houses look so simple. It's different from the grandeur of the Han dynasty. There's a white-haired girl in the middle. My eyes don't know where they're going. Her name is Siley. Sile, now living in an eastern countryside. Next to the Lan Palace. She is a teenager, but she has been to many places. From the steppe to the snowy mountain kingdom. There are a lot of Siley fans in the village. Say something that is young, but has broad knowledge. But that's actually not travel, it's flight. Because you are an animal. Siley walked into the small house. After the closure, she hands down the towel on her head. To reveal the gray hands. The children in the house saw her return and shouted, I lay you back. She is holding hands with her brothers. She asked with a smile, Did anything happen in the house today? The blue-haired girl replied, People are coming today. Siley sounds like she's worried about something. But the blue-haired sister quickly reassured her sister. Don't worry, we have a hood. We don't let people find out we're the ones. The brother next to you takes care of the basket you brought home. It's got fresh vegetables in it. Hearing her sister say that, Siley breathed softly. So what good people do? The brother carelessly said, There seems to be a new king. To add a little more, the immigrants of the 10-animal kingdom. I want to survive in this country. The first thing to remember is to hide your identity. There was a knock outside the door. The man at the door spoke. Siley, I'm back. The girl goes into the room and removes the scarf on Ra's head. Still an animal. The kids in the house. When I saw the girl coming in, I was excited. When Siley saw you, she smiled. Girl, he quickly answered an unrelated question. Today in DTO. At this time, the rice is ready. You call everyone back. So why don't you come in and eat? To explain what Lin said earlier. It's as simple as this. In the minds of the animals here, they all assume that, if you're not disguised, once exposed, they will be forced to give signals to the door. Today in DTO shows outside no child. Don't be careful. If it's not okay today, there are people outside who want to enter. Attention hightail and ear. I can't communicate too much with people. It doesn't appeal to human curiosity. You can't disguise yourself outside. If there is a hint of danger, leave immediately. You can't go to the big road. If it's dangerous, learn to let go of the danger. Can't hesitate to decide. There are a lot of different kinds of things. Everything has to be remembered. Remember those details. Just a little careless will forget. You have to read the rules again. The family's meal scene. See spread out in so much fun. But hidden deep in it, maybe not out of insecurity. Keep hiding like that. You can safely survive after that. The face cannot be hidden. The sadness in my eyes. You think about it later, but you don't know. Never thought of. Maybe they don't have the right to think now. Under the candles, Leo Lin spoke of Siley. I got the news today. The new king of the LAN Palace to register with everyone in the next. I heard that someone from Chang'an City will be in charge today. Chang'an is the new capital of the LAN Palace. Siley couldn't help but worry. She clasped her hands back to Sao. Lin's face was no better than she frowned. Then we'll be exposed. Please have to say the last word. I can't wait to see if Ra can just move out. Hear you say that? Spirit also stood up to me. So I'm going to get ready. Fortunately, there is not too much furniture. Siley tried hard to laugh with me. I thought it started again. The next morning, people. Save the wind to the side. Start the registration that Lin said last night. Many people have come here. There's the Siley family. It's all closed. My ears are going to want to go somewhere else. I saw that the guard stopped me. I'm so sorry, gentlemen. This time, the king gave a new order. Every single person in the village has to be clear. So before the investigation is clear, maybe it's not convenient to get in. Both Chili and Lin heard that on their faces. What Lin said in a hasty voice. But we have something very important. Link then say more. Our parents are very ill and have to hurry. Please understand. The guard was a little hesitant. I said, wait a minute. Then you run back. Talk to someone who seems to be in a higher position. Siley watched the two exchange anxiously. She said to herself calmly. Must be calm. After a talk, the guard returned to inform the ladies. It's a really hard command. Too afraid, but I'll take you to work. Preferential treatment for you. Then arrange a horse to take you away. Don't worry. Absolutely not miss the job. Shinla replied with a grin, I know. Thank you, think calmly. If you refuse, you will be suspected. Lin anxiously called her sister's name Siley. Can't say anything yet. Siley came back with a determined voice. Lin, I'll reveal my identity later. Attract the attention of others. Give the kids a chance to escape, you know. At first, she hesitated, but then she made a compromise. You know, you've got to learn to choose without hesitation. Link is directed to the information registration desk. The blue-haired guard comforted her. I've heard about you. Don't worry, I'll do it soon. Thank you very much. The blue-haired girl asked what her name was. Sela immediately replied. Snow Lessie lay snow in white snow pair and tears. The guard girl listened and took notes. You have a great name. Do you know that? Siley replied. Well, when I was a kid, I had the opportunity to learn. Finally, the girl asked. Could you please take off your hat? We have something to confirm. Siley couldn't help but shiver a little. But you're still willing to respond. Application. She raised her hand and slowly removed the towel on her head. The beauty is over. Her beast man hands appeared below. People are also surprised. Is an animal. I don't blame young people for coming to us. In my head, I called Siley. Then bend over and tell them to get ready to run. But something unexpected happened. You guard, after seeing Siley's true identity. Then smile and say, Lady Ra Sile is a horse. Her hair color and name are beautiful. People with Siley. You can't help but be surprised to hear her speak. The guard continued to hand over the paper that had just been written. Show Siley. Tell me this is your proof. Remember to keep it later and exchange hard papers. Please pick up the paper. Not out of the question, she suspected or asked. Wait, everyone? People don't catch me, Sao. I saw you ask. The guard pulled up her sleeves. To reveal a patch of blue skin, she reassures Siley lady to calm down. I know what you're worried about. I'm also an animal. Don't worry about the new king. Your Majesty has banned its existence. Any form of slavery is now not available. Not later either. Siley couldn't help but be surprised. Ask again to confirm. That is, we animals. The green-haired girl laughed. That's right, we animals can live freely. Listen to here. Both Chili and Lin are trying to take them away. They all stalled. The girl handed a piece of paper to the Siley and continued. Miss Siley said she used to go to school. This is the Kuk Fuang exam. If Miss Siley is interested, maybe think about joining. Hear that? Then he held up the paper and answered. Thank you. After finishing, you go back to your brothers. When I saw you go back, I asked my hand. What is this about Chili? Sile still looks unbelievable. What just happened? I don't know how to respond. But it seems we don't need to hide anymore. When all three of you heard that, you jumped up. I can't hide my happiness, but I can't hide it. That's good. I looked at the paper in my hand, thinking. New King Sage Min exam. Suddenly, she called out to Lin. Getting ready to go to school. Trip. He is still holding his brother in his arms. As soon as you say it, your face is suspicious. Look at my sister. Lay, two hands clasped together, like a prayer. Her eyes lit up with hope. I don't know why. I suddenly wanted to see it with my own eyes. Late at night, a group of guards, soldiers of the gods, holding the torch and running into the Duke Winner's palace. Then they banged on the door and yelled, "Open the door." Iller recipe with two guards follow. Open the door. Welcome out. His face full of confusion, not understanding what Duke Illerface stern boldly said. What are you doing here? Orange-haired guy leads the crew. Raise your hand and tell everyone to stop. He held the torch, he said loudly. Lately, there's always been a superstition. Disadvantage news with the owner. There's a whistleblower Kiers in the government. He said he thinks he's in charge. He ordered the guards behind him. Stay close to me. The Iller recipe found these soldiers too disrespectful. No longer no above, no below. Pissed off, big mess. Recipe, Iller angry, blood boiling. Left hand on the scepter, right hand behind your back. 2 feet wide with shoulders held high. Show them the power in front of them. Killer up, please my family. All lives are God's. Faithful to the family kingdom. It's not just based on your mouth. No evidence to slander. The Duke's cold eyes continued. It's just like what people say. The gods are gone. The illuminating light of the owner's foot. Occluding Phi. With someone I don't see eye to eye. They say, Didon. The guards finished listening. Stand back face down. The Duke of Killer's last words. Make him think. After the queen disappeared, there is a power that opposes the gods. But from the beginning to the end, I didn't find it. The Grand Master suspects the Duke, the greatest protector of the queen. But still no evidence. Suddenly, he gritted his teeth. Sharp eyes. Think back to the order God gave you. Come here with the words that Duke Iller just said. He found it very awkward. This time, I came to the door just to see if I could find it. Just now this situation. If you storm tomorrow, the Duke's words will go down the street. Disadvantage of the situation in front of the gods. Then suddenly, he put his hand on his right leg. 1 step forward, bow your head respectfully, and accept the blame. The Duke. Sorry, there have been rumors all over the city lately. We are also interested in loans. I hope you'll understand our offense. Let's call it this orange-haired guard. They also know how to think. Hear that? Duke Iller was angry with him. Misunderstanding is clear. I hope everyone catches that guy soon. Then it all ended in peace. Orange-haired guard, thank you again. Thank the Duke for understanding. May the light of God protect you. Then they led the army home. The formula of the island Lao hastily instructed his subordinates to probe. Tell the others to be careful. Before the queen returned. Must be. The winner. I haven't finished the sentence yet. Suddenly, there was applause from the distance. In the dark, a man in a black cloak is walking and clapping. Big mouth is good. The Duke knelt and startled. Go back and panic. 2 people in cloaks take off the hood. So that's Queen Timoti and Earl Subin. The 2 of them greeted the Duke. The Duke hasn't seen you in a long time. The Duke. The killer's formula suddenly asked the Queen. Robin, you're glad to say you're back. Already said. 3 of them went into the room to talk. If Tim sits in a chair, be grateful to say, the Duke. This month is hard for everyone. The Iller recipe also looks sulky very hard. Later, you will torture my fake skeleton less. The Queen laughed and asked the Duke. Iller situation in the country at the moment. Although the news in the country has never been interrupted, I also got a lot of intelligence. From the exile, Your Majesty. But I still want to hear the Duke. Tell us a little more. Duke Killer, serious facial expression. Recount the situation now. Your Majesty must know. After she left for rescinding the tax exemption policy, people were very quickly disgruntled. But in the beginning, people do not want to directly conflict with God. We're hoping that our officials will communicate. Request with Godhead Teacher. Of course, we follow your instructions. Let the officials help the face. But the attitude is very soft. God's people believe that. We're afraid they're getting worse. Just be natural. People create concepts. It's not that officials don't help. It's that theologians work too arrogantly. Also be aware, parents will also accept their requests. We're sending a messenger now. At first, Your Majesty, because the people live well, strong persistence want to deduct taxes. He was eventually forced by the gods to flee abroad. People are starting to think. People really think for them. I started waiting for people to come back. Under our guidance, a lot of people have joined the protest movement. God protect the Queen. Finish talking about the state of the country. Winner recipe, put your hands on your chest. He bowed to King Timoti. Now you just need to show your face. There will be a lot of people supporting you. Timothy, King rejoiced. Praise the Duke for doing well. Your Majesty told me. When you come home, you have to win first. I can't believe you helped me finish it. Humble Illa recipe answer. It's all about our family. Kwok Phuong Tim Mo replied, So it can't be delayed. We quickly start planning the second step. Her eyes were cold, and she continued to overthrow the gods. Illa recipe finished listening to the king. He was startled and panicked. Is it too urgent to try to stop your Majesty? However, many people expressed support for him, but they all want to benefit themselves. Not really loyal to people. He frowned further if pressed. God's people will be willing to give up. People are very likely to betray you. Even if people don't betray, but the army is still in the hands of the gods. If he orders the army back, our collective civil society organizations, it's absolutely impossible to deal with. Kuk Piang Tim Mo looked straight into the Duke's eyes. Iller laugh. You seem to have it all figured out. You don't have to worry about these things. Someone will teach us what to do. The Iller recipe looked at His Majesty with puzzled skepticism. Suddenly outside the door flashed the shadow of two people. Queen Timoti speaks out. Two young men walked in. Pretty bright face beaming self-introduction, Thiu hello. We're ambassadors of the Han dynasty, AC and Taki. Duke Killer Dang Tu hand warmly welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You have to ask the two in front of you. I don't know how to overturn the gods. How specifically will it proceed? A sea eyes lit up, determined to fight the landlord. Early the next morning in the city, people gathered to protest in the streets. He shouted, the gods oppress the people. To enslave the people. Our family doesn't need a god. They're going to the city of the cardinal gods. The leader of the delegation is Queen Timoti. She raised her hand and ordered everyone to come up to me. To destroy the gods and build a new family. The people and the soldiers behind them also shouted, toppling the god of religion, building a new family. Now in the temple. The guards heard the sound. People are protesting, bewildered not to understand what. They looked at each other and asked what was the noise outside. The soldier next to him answered to see. Surprisingly, the National Defense Army Tim Mo took the lead. Push the door in. The soldiers of the gods saw. So I'm horrified. The people rushed in. I see people in the gods. Their faces are aggressive, angry, and screaming. It's that they force us not to survive, to overthrow them. The soldier of the gods stood in silence, shaking and screaming, what are you doing? The army doesn't care, they keep going straight ahead. My mouth is screaming. They are now screaming for the market. Who are you? Where are you? The king's army is advancing. Quite unexpected. The Lord's people did not have time to return. The battle is over. Of King Timoti has arrested those who hold positions in the religion. Take it to the city square. Kwok Fuong. Tim Moth with Count Subin in the square. A few words in front of the people. Count Subin said, "The crimes of the gods." CEO during his time as a rabbi. In the name of the Lord, take over the land of the people. He also forced his followers to give him their property. When a believer refuses, it is considered superstition. Finally made people break down their houses. It was during his time as a teacher. In the name of the nation, the exorcism of the master, raising people's taxes. Then Count Subin accused the cardinal. I can't finish the sentence yet. The people beneath the angry faces. Raise your hand to the gods. They spoke out in unison. They deserve to kill them. See that women's national team Tim Mo to reassure the people. Don't worry. These people are guilty enough to die 1,000 times over. Wait until after we overthrow the gods. I will take the name of Queen. Give these people the death penalty. To hear these words of the king, and everyone is safe and sound. Thank you, your majesty. Thank you. Kwok Fuong Tim Mo continued. Out. I have an important policy statement to make. She outstretched her arm of power. Ra said, the wind and road territories occupied, but returned to the national. But it's going to be divided among the landless AI. It doesn't matter who gets the land or the first 3 years. It will also be tax-free. People heard it. Everyone is bewildered. Eyes glistening, mouth smiling, happy look. Then I asked the king. Really good. Kwok Fuong Tim Mo Thi. Under the sun, she glowed. Respond boldly to the current. Of course, it's true. Tim Mo Thi, I'm the king of the family. The word Ra is the unspoken king. People heard it. Both hands raised their happy faces. Long live the queen. Arrange everything. Currently in the Duke of Winter's house. AC and the Duke of Winter are standing at the door. Discuss with each other. Azian says this is the whole process of landlords. Through land interests that bind people. Let the people obey the queen. Iller recipe looks admirable. The book is so good for the people. Your Majesty, the Demon Kingdom, is a powerful force. AC puts his hands on his chest. I also admire the quality of T.I. Modi. Your Majesty, the Queen heard me. You may not hesitate to go to work. She is the blessing of the family. Earl Miller also admired AC. I can tell you that Mr. AC is so safe at such a young age. No tiger is the one who was commissioned by the Han dynasty. Important responsibility. AC modestly replied to the Duke with great praise. AC now remembers Lani, the girl I've missed for so long. As whispered in the heart with Lani. Can you see it? Your ability is recognized. I'm finally qualified to bring you happiness. Have the courage to propose to me. 2 people watching the sky. The formula kneels back and asks AC, the next ambassador. What should we do? See across the family. Let's talk about the Queen today. People in other cities. In the Kingdom of Nails, ear transmission, news of the decrees of Queen Timothy. They huddled in groups, talking to each other. One of them is still a bit surprised. Ask the Queen. Actually divide property and land from the Sao wind. Someone else doesn't sound very confident. Maybe you didn't fool us. There are no nobles so good. The man quickly raised his hands. It's very accurate to say. My cousin went through this himself. Deliberately report to me. Then this man seemed to have absolute confidence in the king. He continued, "Even though I decided when Her Majesty the Queen came, we will follow her and overthrow the gods." What are you doing? Everyone around you still seems confused. I don't know if I should. Name does not ask again can really divide money and lend SAO. Then someone said out loud that even SAO can't live anymore. Go without money. They all say me too, I go too. Let's go together. Right now, in the cathedral capital, the new subordinate panicked. I ran in and told the professor. The teacher is not okay. Queen Timothy was the leader of the people. Attack Catholic Street. They've taken over the big land. People in other cities, waiting for the queen to come. There's a city affected by this. Organized his own Catholic attack. Keep going like this. The servant hesitated to continue. The cardinal's face was angry, but still calmly say, "At first, I thought she was an easy woman to control. Just pushed her to the top. I guess I looked the wrong way." The teacher ordered the subordinate to give instructions to the world. Pause the war with the Han dynasty. Tell the journalist to quickly go home to suppress Tim Modi. The servant put his hand on his chest and said, "Yes." A few days later, New Frontier Green Army, or believe Queen Tim Modi, is standing up. Godhead teacher, we need to summon soldiers to protect the city. Said in a panic, big something. There are riots in the country. The great mainstream is in danger. The leader said, order the entire army to prepare. Prepare to return to the family immediately. Suppression of the queen and the superstition of saving the master. Hear the order. The riders are on their way. Run back to the cathedral. Suddenly, there was a strange noise in the sky. They looked up at the sky. It's a heavy plane of the Han dynasty. Are dropping bombs on the ground. The subordinate shouted SAO again at this time. He shouted that the enemy would retreat first. Just as I finished, the bomb exploded. The fire's smoke scattered. The old cardinal in the sugar capital right now. He was so excited about what was going on. It's been 10 days. The horseman has not returned. The officer reported the situation. I heard that Han dynasty soldiers launched an attack. When they want to retreat, they can't escape. At this point, the old master realized. His face is dark, sharp eyes, before after Tim Modi disappeared. It's not found anywhere. Probably not to the Han dynasty. So now, the Han dynasty is actually attacking. In fact, in collaboration with Timothy, the knights were deliberately locked down. Don't let them go to the rescue. The old god bared his teeth, black eyes closed, two holding the scepter of anger. The blood boils down the liver. Save the wind. You are everywhere. One day I will kill you. The master ordered his followers. Orders group of riders. Even if you die, you have to find a way back. At the train station in Trongen, the train whistle cracked loudly. People are busy. Everybody get off the train. Everyone is happy to come to Chengen. A train arrived at the station. Flight attendants on board inform everyone. Thank you for the train experience. Welcome next time. The flight attendant noticed a girl who was still sleeping. I didn't wake up even though I went to the station. He walked up to the girl who called him to wake her up. Here we are. The animal girl saw someone calling her. The dreamy face is still salivating. Eyes slowly opened in bewilderment for an hour. And then the girl quickly got off the train. I can't wait to see the time really arrive. You don't. I didn't think I would be in time before. In your head, A conversation between you and your sister. Your sister didn't believe you yesterday.